Welcome to the OFX podcast. I'm Dave Claxton, along with my counterpart, elite obstacle course racer, and general tiny badass Bethany McChesney.
Hi.
So we all know Hyrox has been on a roll. They took the chicken shit that was 2020 and managed to turn it into chicken salad. They did this by not only rolling out with some great events early on in 2020, but then they managed to bring out a really successful VCF, Virtual Championship of Fitness, and as well, what I thought was an incredible Elite 12 Invitational World Championship at the end. And I know technically they released it in 2021, right on January. It was January 1st, I believe, but it was still 2020, and that was great.
So today we have three guests with us who are all deeply involved in the Hyrox world in some form or another. So I just wanted to introduce them all to you so that you have an idea who you're talking to. So first we have Florian Kowalczyk. So just let the audience know as well what your role is with Hyrox.
First of all, you spelled my second name perfectly. No one in the whole world is able to do that. So congrats.
Yay.
I told you she was a badass.
Seems so. I am Hyrox Daily. This is an independent and unofficial account from Hyrox because I'm working for Hyrox as well at the events. I am working as a race director. Sometimes I'm doing the technical briefings or judging, stuff like that. And I've created that account, Hyrox Daily, just to have some fun. Throwing workouts to the world, having fun with the community, and helping the sports to grow. That's what I do.
Great. Yeah. And Mintra, Madison, what's your role with Hyrox?
Actually, Madison's correct, but now it's Tilly because I got married a year ago, but I haven't changed my name yet. Yeah. So my role is I'm the global race director. I together with my husband Jacob, who's also the director of sports. We're basically responsible for all race matters and all things sports that you come across whether it's workout of the weeks or rule books or, and of course, the entire layout of the competition. So that's pretty much what I do, what we do.
All right. And then Eric Botsford, what's your role here with Hyrox? You're the newest to the team, are you?
I am the newest to the team. Yeah. For a lot of your viewers that, probably follow Tough Mudder over the years, they probably see me on the Tough Mudder stage or on the screen or whatever, and a lot of the documentaries and different things. So, came over to Hyrox in October, and I'm the head of business development for the U.S. market. So trying to basically mimic like the immense amount of success that the German team has had here in the States. So Goliath of a chore, but I'm taking it on.
You got this, Eric. All right. So I think we're going to start with what happened in 2020. So your Elite 12 event, which I thought went fantastic. And it was such an exciting event to watch. I was waiting till January 1st, actually, so I could watch it. So why don't we start with Flo then? What was your perspective on how the event went itself?
The event itself was perfect. First of all, I was a little bit, I thought I'm not sure about why did you get, for example, some names in and others not from the current elite wave. I had some issues with that, but the event itself went perfect. And from the perspective of the marketing behind all of that, for example, that you get Samantha Briggs in, she's a CrossFit Games athlete. It was perfect because she just mixed the things up. She came in with a lot of CrossFit experience and a lot of CrossFit athletes around her who are following her on Instagram and all that stuff are moving over to Hyrox right now. So right from the marketing aspect, perfectly. And the setup from the event, one of the best setups I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's awesome. The setup itself, and I'm not sure, maybe if Eric or Mintra, you might be able to answer this better, but the setup with the treadmills, do you think, and being able to be in a smaller space, do you see that setup being able to be used again in the future?
Yeah, Mintra, I'll just take this one real quick, and then you can definitely add in. But like, I'm excited to announce that. Yeah, I mean, like through the success of what we saw with the the assault runners, I think that there could be, you know, assault saw some bonus. So you might see them definitely at US events, just in general, like the treadmills. So look out for that. But yeah, you know, at least from a US perspective, we're talking to different brands and different like fitness expos and that type of thing, where you know, the main driver is to get as many people through the Hyrox course as possible. And so this modified structure, or like this, you know, Hyrox is unique in that it just occupies such a large amount of square footage, right? So it definitely offers us the ability to kind of like condense things down. Plus, you know, once again, this is kind of maybe for, you know, my wish list. I really, really see the potential to make Hyrox racing into a media property that can be broadcast out to, you know, a larger audience and be a series. And so that the structure with the runners, and then as you saw, and Mintra can speak to more like the actual race day setup, because that's her zone. It worked out really well for us.
Yeah, and I agree totally with Eric here. I feel like the assault runner is, it's not so much is this or that. I think it can, you know, both coexist in different settings. And that's what I really liked about the setting of the Elite 12. However, if you think about it, in the mass participations, it's kind of like a hard operation task to ship, I don't know, 50 or 70 assault runners, even though that would be awesome, but like, I don't think that's possible, right? So, so like in a perfect world, yes, but I think the way we've got it laid out is pretty nice as it is. And I think these two options can coexist. Yeah.
So this is usually the part where I tell you that you're all right, but you're absolutely all wrong. So I liked it. And just like Eric said, I thought as far as TV friendly, it was fantastic, because if you have everybody running around the track, they get spread out. It's a little harder to cover. You can't quite keep track of everything. But when you had them on the assault runners, it was great because the good shots were everywhere. And yet Mintra is right at the same time. It's mass participation. You can't throw that many people through on 6 treadmills, 10 treadmills. It's not, the logistics of it don't make sense. Mm-hmm. My thought process was, if you ever got to the point where you would do, and this kind of jumps to expansion, if you would do different sectional championships and then bring champions from those sectionals to do a televised YouTube, however you want to do it, where you'd have 6 to 10 treadmills and you do the whole scenario that way. That's where I see something like this leading to in the future. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just jump in and say this is exactly why, like, a great segue into, and we don't have to discuss it yet if we're not there yet, but it's, you know, the invitational series, right? So coming off the success of what we saw at the Elite 12, Flo is exactly right. I mean, that first 2 weeks of January has been an insane rush to my inbox, you know, and my social media. And I'm sure, Mintra, you've had a bunch of athletes, you know, from the circuit, like, also reach out. Like, there's, I mean, so many crossover athletes are just hitting us up now. And so, like, as the field grows, as the popularity and like the big names come in, it'll be really, really fun to put these athletes head to head. Now, it always is, right, the question not only about scaling to a larger event, but like, are the world record times going to be the same? You know what I mean? Like, it can't always be apples to apples. And I know that's something Mintra and I was discussing when we were in Germany. You know, there has to be that caveat that even the viewer or the Hyrox, you know, the 3, 4, 5 time Hyrox, you know, participant needs to know that, yeah, it's like, you know, the time not going to be, you know, fully apples to apples if we do use the treadmills.
I mean, you can't forget that, you know, we have the rock zone. You still have your in and out times. You get a little time in the rock zone, and the transitioning from one workout to running to the next workout. So that all kind of fell flat because, you know, the distance was so short. So what I agree with Eric here, we in order to, you know, to keep it the same all around the world, we kind of need to have, we need to stick with one thing. And then, you know, when it comes to something special, and we pitch in and bring in the air assault runners. Plus, you know, it's not that easy to run on the air assault. You had to take that into consideration too. I mean, that's a whole different ball game, right? I mean, you know, we haven't done any, you know, we haven't looked at it scientifically yet, but like, when you look at the times, I think Hunter finished in an hour.
Yeah, 60 minutes.
And, you know, usually and Luke he finished in an hour and 3 minutes, and they usually get like sub 1 hour minutes at times. So that I think the back to back to back and on the assault runner, that kind of like played into that as well. So it's a little different.
So something else that I saw too, and then I was kind of wondering about this too, being a runner and racing, is that dynamic when you're actually running. So you know how far someone is ahead of you. So when I was watching them on the treadmill, I kept thinking, how do they know how fast somebody else is going? And that really plays into racing. So when I was watching it, I was thinking because you had your screen where you could see heart rates. So I was like, why don't you see how far each person is so you know if you're gaining on them or losing on them?
Yeah, Mintra, I know we'll leave that one kind of a little bit alone, but but yeah, that's the overall plan. And certainly comes to these larger events. I mean, I'm just coming from a lunch meeting right now where we've been discussing with with a technology company about how to extrapolate like all this cool data onto screen so we can digest it better, so we can see what's going on in the race from both athlete and then spectator perspective. And then to your point is this you bring up a really, really interesting point, right? Which is like, I know as a runner, and believe me, I'm not the greatest runner where I lift weights for a living, but like to see somebody out there in front of you 20, 30 meters ahead, that automatically gives you that extra gear that you're going to go towards. And I asked that in every single interview that we did. And then Flo, I know that you were judging there. So, I mean, you can speak directly to where those eyeballs were going. You saw so much, and we actually pointed this out in the broadcast, I think too, is you saw so much of oh, I'm going to peek over to your thing. Let's, especially with Lucas and Hunter. Yeah. That heavily.
No, I mean, and I'll give credit to Bethany because it was her idea, and it was just a simplistic process, and you did it on the wall balls, which we loved. You had the little tablet, and the judges just clicked off each rep. You could do the similar thing on the treadmills and just have them click off each 100 meter, and then have stream that up to the screen. I mean, go ahead, Flo.
At least we tried to show it with our hands. I don't know if you recognize that. We already showed 500 meter, 400 meter, and that stuff.
Yeah, we did see it, but I mean, it was,
I'm absolutely with you guys, but that's like something, some learning. We had planned for something similar. It didn't go too well. So we're kind of like working on these things, whereas, it was the first televised, it was like, if you want, like, it was the first competition that was a production at the same time. And we're constantly striving to get better and looking for improvements. And that's definitely on our list, to do better. And I absolutely agree with you guys.
Well, we demand perfection the first time. So you're pretty much done now. One shot and you're out.
No, we thought it was fantastic.
It was, honestly, you guys did a great job. We thoroughly enjoyed it. And when you really do consider, just like Mintra said there, that it was anyone's first shot at this, at making anything like this, you guys took an event and completely changed it from a giant atmosphere to a tiny condensed thing. And it went really well.
For all your viewers out there too, just so you guys all know, we shot that and cut the show and did the voiceovers and did the editing and did the graphic work in a week. Like, if anybody's worked in television, that's unheard of. So yeah, anyways, kudos to the Hyrox team.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. Yeah. Let's transition then now to the virtual championship of fitness that's coming up. So this would now be your next real event since the one in Dallas got postponed. So let's help you promote that a little bit. So Mintra, maybe you might be best for this one to describe exactly what that is now. You've moved it to a single day, 3 events in one day, correct?
Right. We originally had planned for it to happen so simultaneously to the Dallas event, and we wanted to give the rest of the world pretty much also a competition feeling. So we came up with with basically a one-day competition where you have to where you can either sign up for body weight or equipment depending on what type of lockdown you're currently in, and the workouts are kind of similar, even though obviously when you have weights you'll use weights and rowing machines, and the others are just body weight and running. And we came up with a 3-event workout or a 3-event competition because we wanted to mimic the feels of when you go through an actual Hyrox. So it's it's going to be a toll on your body. You're going to have some time in between the rest. That's entirely up to, you know, you or the athlete. But overall, it's going to be very challenging. And most important, it's going to be so much fun.
Mm-hmm. And people can potentially qualify for this invitational heat in Dallas?
Yes. So there's a few different, I mean, once again, it's been borderline frenzy around this invitational. I think that, and once again, I got to give a lot of credit to the community and to everybody that's like reached out to me. I hear you and I love you guys. And so like, this is like having the VCF as a kind of a qualifier for those last remaining spots, which we're extending the actual list. I mean, first start off at 10, and I think we're gonna probably settle on something a lot bigger for those wave sizes. But yeah, it's an opportunity for, and I do have to bring this up. We talk about a little bit of controversy that's going on. Once again, I get a lot of messages and a lot of folks from my community, from like the CrossFit community, going like, what are these guys? I can't, like this and that. And here's your opportunity, guys. Prove it. Prove that you can beat these top Hyrox athletes. And I believe it's going to be really inspiring to see, like, for most people who normally do these online virtual competitions, it's usually like you can game it out, right? They give you 5 events over the course of 5 days to do all the events, and so you get these rest time. As Mintra said, right, 3 events, 1 day. You do get to game it in as like, whether you do workout A or workout C first or whatever it is, you get that kind of freedom.
No, I'm sorry, we changed that. You're gonna have to stick with Oh no, we changed it back. I'm sorry.
Come on, Mintra.
You were like, what? Yeah. You're right.
Anyway, so you have 3 events, 1 day. As Mintra said, it does take a toll on your body, even for like those folks that have been doing during lockdown, like so many of these competitions. Like, I think it's going to be very important that you strategize. And I think that, after running the workouts myself, I think you won't be disappointed in either, guys, if you're watching this, either the body weight or equipment. Don't feel like you're, left out if you do, one or the other. They literally suck just as equally.
Now,
may I ask a question to that?
Oh, go ahead, Flo.
Why I got a lot of questions about the VCF. Why is there no prize money in relation to the Dallas Invitational? We have a Dallas Invitational with $10,000 for prize money, and the VCF is $0 for prize money.
I like Flo.
No, it's not my question. You don't get me wrong, Eric.
You're wearing Hyrox gear, man. You can't be asking me those kind of questions.
No.
Never here.
Don't get me wrong. I am always neutral. I'm always between the company and between the community, and I will stay forever neutral like this.
I love you, but yeah. So here it is in a nutshell from my perspective, is that like we have a lot of companies very interested in all this stuff runs off revenue. We can't put up $30,000 for the Dallas event and if like we don't have partners that'll kind of support us and like rev ticket sales and all that kind of stuff. So when it does come, I mean, that's just normal business. And so when it comes down to the VCF, it's not that we won't potentially. Obviously, like this thing is unfolding rather quick. Things with Hyrox kind of move at this pace, and Mintra can probably attest to that too. But we have to find the right partner that will that's going to align with us. We're actively kind of combing through all the people that want to be a part of it. But yeah, potentially there could be some money on the line as well as the invites. We want to make this as competitive as possible. So I mean, please, you can leave me in this gray area of quoting me in the gray area. You know what I mean? Where it's like, yeah, there might be some, and maybe not. But it's really just about let's not forget that the VCF, and Mintra, please feel free to jump in. It's about bringing this community together. You know what I'm saying? It's about, once again, just there's nothing that we want more than to be back racing. And like, yeah, to, Bethany's point about moving to April, like it had to happen because we're trying to be responsible as a brand, but we want to bring people together. We want to compete. So like, do it for the love, people, for the love.
Yes,
so Beth and I both participated in the last VCF, and obviously it was a lot different than this one. Like you guys said, it was more I can't remember if it was 1 or 2 workouts per week or something along that lines, and then it went along. What was the decision like? Was it just like you said to make it more like a Hyrox strict event, just one day all done suck fest essentially?
Yeah, basically. We tried different formats over the course of the lockdowns. We started with the home series, then that was, I think, 4 weeks, one workout. Then we, moved on to the VCF, and that was 2 workouts per week, like in a 3-day, how do you say that? Like rotation.
Mm-hmm.
And then over 2 weeks entirely with a grand final. And then for this one, we wanted to try something different. And we thought I think this is going to be fun because just like Eric said, we tried the workouts and they're fun and they're challenging. And I think it's just, something different. And we just wanted to, and we thought it was a great idea in, conjunction with the February, with the Dallas event. Unfortunately, that's not happening anymore. So yeah, we're just going to stick to that plan.
Are those 3 spots coming from the equipment competition?
That's, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have just decided.
Well, yeah. Well, like once again, like the Dallas Elite Race is, I'll just keep saying this over and over again, like it is like a frenzy, like of people that want to get in there. So I want to give people the opportunity, you know what I'm saying? And if like we I want to say yes to I mean, honestly, it's probably going to be both. It's because Mintra said, right, everyone's in different states of lockdown. So like if like the German athletes right now cannot get to the gym, and so like it wouldn't be fair for me to be like, no, like, they're not, they obviously like blew away the competition. Like, hell yeah, I'm gonna give them an invite. They gotta come over to the US, but like, you know what I mean? Like that's just the one little the caveat thing. Mintra, do you want to go over the rules really quick about doing the body weight and the equipment?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Yeah. You can do both. So you can sign up for both. You're just going to have to do both competition in one day. So all the scores have to be submitted.
Six workouts in one day, right?
6 workouts in one day. And, obviously there's video proof. You got to submit a video to it. So you can't use the run or, for example, the run part. And I know it's going to blah, blah, blah. So yeah, you're going to have to sign up for both. You can sign up for both, but you're going to have to do them both in one day.
So probably the biggest issue with almost every virtual competition, guess where we're going? Yeah. Judging, right? Judging becomes an issue. It's really difficult. And whereas I'm probably one of the biggest critiques of judges everywhere, I also very much sympathize because with that many people, it's so hard to run through and judge everybody. So, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but under the last VCF, did essentially you guys judge like the top 5 in each category and then pretty much move on down from there?
We actually went, and you know how we had 2 competitions, right? Body weight and equipment. And then we had women and men. And then per division, we had like 9 age groups.
Yes.
So you do the math, but we had like for every single age group for men and women in both divisions, we had judges, and they were judging the top 10. And obviously, I think for the first workout, people were like, I'm going to join and I'm going to, not so much pay attention to movement standards.
Bethany, do you know anyone like that?
Let's not talk about that.
And then boom, the judges hit, and then, all of a sudden the leaderboard was all different. And so we kind of had a judge. So we ended up pretty much judging the top 20 in each category, in each age group, and essentially it's going to be almost the same for the BCF part 2. Yeah.
All right. Now, and I'll throw this out there because this is a system that I come up with people. And the one thing that was great about your guys' VCF, not the one thing, but one of the things that was great about it was the way it was laid out, where I, as an athlete, I could watch the videos of the other competitors. Have you ever thought of putting in a challenge system where, as an athlete, well, I see a guy in front of me that, maybe I'm in 20th place, but I see a guy in front of me in 18th. He obviously hasn't done a single good squat. I send in an email with the challenge saying, hey, this should be reviewed. Now, granted, I know that if you institute something like that, everybody's going to call for everyone.
Yeah.
But if you put in a penalization thing, like if I give you a bad review, like give you something that shouldn't have been reviewed, then I lose points off my score. Has anything like that ever been entertained?
I think, I mean, I think that's a good, that's great. Have the community kind of judge it themselves. But I think that's going to be a maintenance nightmare, because if we open this up, then everyone, like, we've already had lots of complaints. We're like, oh, this dude is in front of me and blah, 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 blah. But we were combing through, we were judging them, just, you know, 2-3 days in delay. And, but yeah, I think if we would open something up like that, we would just open up Pandora's box.
Yeah, and that's why I say, that's why you need some kind of penalization for ones.
Yeah.
For example, if I say athlete B should have 10 reps deducted, and you guys review the video and go, no, he's fine, then you deduct him off mine. And that puts a risk.
But then you'll be like, what the hell, dude?
No, because I know what's going in. I know what's going in.
Hey,
one way or the other, you can't please everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, we did it with CrossFit. We did that with CrossFit for years. Like there was a community judging system, and it just ended up being a big total nightmare. But here's the deal. Just so you guys know, out there in like virtual competition land, which is not going away by any stretch of the term, because I don't see, like, I think it's just for the time being, like, you know, other than badass Hyrox events coming back April 10th to Dallas, there's still going to be a lot of opportunities for virtual competitions. AI is going to solve all these problems in the next year. I can tell you, because I've worked with companies now. I'm speaking to companies that are developing these solutions. So the more of these video submissions and video competitions that we have, the more data we can collect about, like, what your squat depth looks like versus her squat depth versus his squat depth, that type of thing. AI is going to be able to solve all these problems in the future. So look out for that, because it's actually closer than you think.
That's amazing. I'd never.
So if you're a geek for this stuff like I am, it's really kind of fun.
Yeah. Right. So flowing from the VCF, and like you say, taking people from there to the invitational, you know, let's get to the meat and potatoes of it all. That's the big event. Sadly, you guys did have to postpone it, but I think responsibly so. I hope you guys have not got a lot of flack about that.
Oh, absolutely, we have. But, like, you know what I'm saying? It's, you know, listen, here's the deal. And for everybody watching, like, there's nurses, there's doctors, there's frontline workers that are out there, like, every day. And we're a brand that's, like, pride ourselves on being responsible, being first to market. I mean, you know, from our COVID safety plan to, you know, the antimicrobial company that we're partnering with, spray down all of our equipment. We're really trying to be like the forefront. If you've noticed, I mean, most other event companies, you know, have drastically scaled back or simply canceled their events in general. We're pulling our hair out. I'm going grayer than I am, trying to figure this thing out, because, you know, we want to be first to market. We want to show the world that this you know, that live events can come back in a safe and effective manner. So that's my little caveat to the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, the positivity that we've gotten is, like, far outweighs any sort of, like, I have a, you know, it's a race in, you know, Ontario, Canada on the same day. I'm like, but you're probably not going to go to, I mean, it's like not, once again, not apples to apples. So, like, you know what I'm saying? That it's been kind of a wash, you know what I'm saying? But overall, positive. All the elite athletes, I think, and more by the day, are, like, signing up to do this invitational or showing interest in it. So yeah, watch out for that.
That's my question. The athletes from the Dallas Invitational list, are they invited to the VCF?
Yeah, actually, yes. Because they all have codes.
Because a lot of them don't even know about the VCFs.
Exactly, you know, and this is, and I'll just jump in here with, like, because I've gotten, I think, the most grief that I've personally gotten over the past, like, you know, few weeks, you know, started from podcasts and different things like this, which I'll probably get some more shit from this one, is, you know, we're trying to break Hyrox into this, like, massive market, which is the US. And so, like, some of the folks that were invited, once again, were kind of Hunter and Lauren's calls, right? It's an invitational. They want to personally race these athletes. Don't have a lot of experience in Hyrox, but will, I think, be, you know, just like everybody else, right? They start somewhere. They're super fired up about, you know, switching over to maybe this sport versus, like, whatever they came from. And so yeah, man, like, I think it's fun. I think it's really cool that these guys are, and so many of them are into the VCF. They want to do the VCF because, just like you and I, they don't have anything else going on? So it's like, yeah, let's jump in. Let's do a virtual comp.
So to answer your question, Florian, they have all been invited via email. They all know that this is going on. And if someone if we missed someone or someone didn't get the email, then please feel free to reach out to us, and then we'll send them a code and then they can sign up.
When will you, Mintra, give a video on Hyrox World Instagram about all the information you gave us right now? A lot of people asking me, what's a rule book? When will we see a rule book?
The rule book is live, actually, is live today.
Okay.
And we sent out a newsletter to everyone who signed up, and all, basically the entire community, that the rule book is live, and then the time date, like a time, like when the workout is going to be released, and when the scoring is going to be closed and stuff like that. So that's all the information is out there. It's just not on social yet, because that's not, that's part of the marketing team, their call when they're gonna announce that. But the information is out there.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, so
Dave, you got a third interviewer today.
I know, he's awesome. I freaking love him. Fantastic.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's great. So we stick with the invitational thing, and I'm sure this is probably where you've got the most flack. And I'll be straight out. We actually did an interview last week with Morgan Schultz, who's one of the people who is widely considered should be part of that. She has a top 10 overall time in Hyrox. So definitely, that's right. Get the britches up now. We're ready to go, E-roc.
Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Here we go. I know I've got a lot of messages, and especially on the women's side, I got to tell you, watch out, Dallas. It is worth, listen, once again, let me just preface all this invitational talk with if you are badass, if you think you can beat Lauren Weeks and all these other badass girls that are already invited to this thing, freaking show up and prove it at the pro event, on the pro category. You're going to be racing right alongside, and you're going to earn, this is not just the only invitational. We're planning on moving this right to the next venue. So there's multiple opportunities. And still with prize money, that's the same deal. And then the David McGee thing. It's like, geez, okay, how many? I'm in everybody's stories. It's gnarly, but yeah, dude. So there's some girls. Especially I'll speak to the girls list. Is that it's just stacked right now, and I had to turn away people that like Morgan right now. I just don't. Once again, Morgan, if you're watching this, do the VCF, win the VCF, get in that way. I just have such an incredible list of women, and they've already confirmed. It's this is once again, the invitational was not just me. It's not all me. It was this is who Lauren wanted to race. It's who Hunter wanted to race. That's the list. Sorry, Morgan. Do the VCF.
So this wasn't really a planned question, but I'm just curious then your thinking behind putting two athletes on the decision board for who they get to race.
Well, that came out of, this just simply came out of the idea from, literally in Germany, we were like, dude, these are the two world champions. They raced in Germany. We were we knew we would get questions about the validity of it because of the runners and because of the setup and everything like that. So it made a lot of sense. Okay, let's do this elite wave of the elites in the pro category at Hyrox, where literally you can, if you feel like you're, badass enough, or if Lauren chooses to, race you, or Hunter chooses to race you, let's put you together. Let's truly see what's going on. And I really see it, that this race is going to be a cool thing to watch. And I can't wait to broadcast it for everybody.
And then also, Bethany and Dave, let's not forget, we are a race. We're new to the US. We're, trying to stump our grounds there. We also want to create some kind of buzz. And I think, that's it's a good way to market other, sport, get CrossFitters involved, get OCR athletes involved, get more attention in the racing scene. And, and that way I feel some people might feel left out, but, I can assure you that Hyrox always has been, we'll always put our sport first, and we always credit give credits where credits are due. And I know Morgan is in the elite wave, and when there's going to be the actual, when we're actually have the opportunity again to race and to have the world championships, the actual world championships, then all of the elite wave is going to be there. And there's going to be no extra invitational athletes or wild cards. It's just going to be, you know, the elite ranking that you can find out on our website, and Morgan's in that already. So she's good.
And, you know, just so you guys understand, we do understand and see your viewpoint, especially like you're saying there, Mintra. I mean, this is not just, you guys are in an odd scenario where you're not just creating sport, you're creating a business as well. So you do have to, like you say, you have to grow it. And there's no secret to a lot of the invitationals. There's a lot of Instagram following, a lot of awareness, and it just makes business sense. So we totally understand. We totally sympathize. We just have to poke holes because that's what we do.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah. I love it. It's really, really cool. But at the end of the day, what I love and what everybody should just always keep in the back of their mind is like, this is for Hyrox, man. This is so cool that this many people are just that fired up about this sport, which means we're onto something. And why I'm so excited to be on this team now and dealing with all the craziness that is, right, is because like I do see that this is starting a new movement, and it's filling a hole in sport that's just not there.
Okay, and I got two. Oh, you can go ahead, Bethany. I look like you can see you thinking.
No, you can go ahead.
Okay, so I got a question for Flo, and then I got one for E-roc here. So, Flo, since you're a little on the outside, and obviously you're able to influence your opinions very well here, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions here. One,
yeah, please.
Podium picks, because I'm done with the controversy. I want to go on to the fun stuff. Podium picks for the Invitational at Dallas. Who do you got for the men and women?
For the men, my biggest, Eric Hinman for place 1 to 3. We have Hunter McIntyre, Lukas Storat, Eric Hinman. Point. I don't think that Ryan Atkins is able to handle the functional fitness stuff. He is super fast. He is well known in endurance, but I am not sure if he can handle the sled, for example, and all those mixed up. Same is with Lindsay Webster, his fiance. I think they're married or something. Yeah. She is super fast, but she won't go to the podium because she cannot handle the functional fitness stuff. She's not strong enough to go with the sled. That's why I go with Hunter McIntyre, Luke Storat, and Eric Hinman, because he is a 5 times Ironman competitor. The length of the event is no problem for him. He is a CrossFit athlete. He's lifting heavy weights. When you see him on Instagram, he's able to do really big numbers in his deadlift and all those stuff. And he's familiar to all those CrossFit style stuff like functional fitness. So that's why I go with Eric Hinman. In the women's fields,
it's harder.
Way harder. This
harder.
This is by far one of the most competitive lineups we have ever seen in any sports. If you see Corinna Coffin, it's Corinna Coffin. You saw her on the Spartan Games, I think. If you watch the Spartan Games, she came in 2nd place.
Yeah. And
she is super strong and fast. So I go with Lauren Weeks, Corinna Coffin, and Christy Aramo, because Christy Aramo or Christy O'Connell, she got married and it's now Christy O'Connell. She's a CrossFit Games athlete. She's super fast and extremely strong and familiar with functional fitness. That's why I go with Lauren Weeks, Corinna Coffin, and Christy O'Connell. I don't think that Viola can handle it because of the jet lag. Yeah, she will be tired. That on that level of performance, that makes a difference. That's why I don't think that she will handle that.
So I'll be honest, those are similar picks to what we did, but they are different. And even though we are here in Canada and Lindsay and Ryan are like
your neighbors,
national icon neighbors, they live
yes.
like 8 hours away. They're like national icons. Neither one of us picked them for our podium either.
Really?
You know what? Here's the thing. Like Atkins, you can make a better argument for, right? Because that guy's got an engine that never quits, and he is strong as an ox. The only reason I didn't pick him on the podium is experience.
Yeah.
I picked all guys with experience that have done it, that have gone through it. Like, I think in order to win this invitational, you're probably going to have to go sub 58, maybe, definitely sub 59. And I think on his first one, he's just not going to get that in. Maybe his third, somewhere around there, once he gets some experience and gets the flow of the whole scenario. But in the first one, I can't see it. And I think, Beth, you were pretty much the same feeling.
Yeah. My picks were the same as Flo's. I did say Eric, though, although he is a rookie, as far as I know, in Hyrox, I think he has what it takes to potentially podium.
You picked him as a dark horse.
He was my dark horse, yeah.
My prediction as well is, in the women's fields, between the first place and the fifth place, there is not more time than 45 seconds to 60 seconds.
From first to fifth.
Yes, that's what I say.
Yeah, I will agree that on that point, we do need to kind of reference the Elite 12 race, and that, like, you saw the gap in the men's field. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, Adam, who's amazing, you know, he's a great athlete, like, no question, but it came down to like jet lag, experience, and his weight, right? Those were like three massive things, and the gap just like got insane. And then with you know, Sam, I mean, when you look at it, she was brand new, just got off a plane, and, you know, very new to Hyrox. It was still only like a minute or so behind everybody. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a massive gap, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I agree on the women's side with Flo there. It's going to be very, very tight, and it's extremely fun to watch. There's going to be a lot of overworking in the rock zones.
Yeah, you guys are in an interesting position of being a sport right now where the women's field is so much more interesting than the men's. Like, it's nice to see. I was super stoked watching the women. I almost wish you had reversed it and done the men first and then the women second, because the women's was so close and so exciting. Mm-hmm. And you know, Lauren with the dramatic comeback and stuff, that was so cool. Here's one more question about the event too. And like I said, I think you're going to have to go sub 58. I'd be surprised if anyone's picking anyone other than Hunter to win it. Now, the last time Hunter was in Dallas and did Hyrox, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but did he not run roughly 58:30 with doing an extra 500-meter lap?
That's my understanding.
Do you think he can go into this Dallas and beat his own record?
Yes.
I kind of think he will too.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting. Although, I mean, so I'm intimately involved in emails back and forth with all these athletes or whatever. I know, I think it's just really interesting that the sentiment between everybody is that Ryan's not going to show up. And I think given that he has another month now, or a month and a half, whatever it is, to train, I mean, just in his email contact correspondence with me, it was like, he was like, oh, done. Like, perfect. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's ready. He's coming to win. So, yeah, it's going to be a foot race. So I like you know, Ryan on this one, but I'm a big Ryan fan. So,
Ryan doesn't do anything unprepared.
Yeah, no, I know his coach has been texting me and emailing me.
He's a beast. There's no doubt about it. And if he gets in there, if he sneaks in there, I'm not going to be surprised, but
yeah,
you know.
Is there any change though with the date changing? Because there are some major Spartan events on April 10th.
Yeah, that really no one's reached out with. It was actually only. I mean, I don't know. It's not necessarily confidential. Eric Hinman does have a race on that day in Moab, Utah. It's like it's not the, like, you know, I don't know if it's a qualifier. I don't know, whatever it is, but I just heard from his agent today and his manager that he's willing to bag that race in order to race in Dallas. So he's definitely putting some you know, emphasis on coming and winning this race. I love that you guys all have him there. I'm one of his training partners. Like when he's in Colorado, he's got a new girlfriend, so he's like living with her in another state. But yeah, the guy's an animal. And like, I mean, there was a lot of hoop, you know, like talk when Hunter did the Murph thing, you know, last year and set the record there. Like, I think Eric, I mean, I did it in the same day at the same place as him. And like, I mean, he was just as fast. So if there's any sort of, it all comes down to that experience level. I mean, I think that this is one of the main drivers is, will he be able to pivot, you know, onto those intervals, you know, back and forth, because you know, it's all about getting your back to your pace on the run. This whole race is about that. But yeah, so they're other than Eric's little, you know, race, you know, conflict slightly is no, not too much has changed. No one's reached out to me. everyone's fully in, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's great. That's exciting.
So Mintra, I guess this would best be for you, and this is probably my last question, is probably a difficult time to really think about it, but is Hyrox planning more global expansion, i.e. into some of the other, nearby countries or something like that? Like, I know you guys were planning to come to Canada, that COVID shut that down, but is that the expansion still in the works?
Oh yes, definitely. So we're always we got a great visionary CEO, and he's like pretty much sky's the limit for him. And we are still talking expansion. So right now we had planned in Europe. We're still on track for Netherlands and also Spain and UK. So we're trying to expand in Europe, and that's still on. And then obviously once everything gets back to normal, we do want to expand to Canada, obviously, because that's right next to the US. And then future talks, there's other countries who are interested in us, and we're interested in them. And definitely, it's still on.
Mm-hmm. I used to live in the UAE, and I have a lot of friends there who were super interested in Hyrox. Is there any chance of it going to the UAE?
Definitely. Yeah, they have a great. They had like a great shift of the fitness mentality community back in, that must have been like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago. And they're they have a great community there. And whenever there's a great community, Hyrox there. And I'm not too involved with the gym licensing, but I do know we have a gym in Qatar, I think. Like we're spread it all over the world. So it's small still, but we're getting there, and we still have big plans for countries like that, and also Asia's a thing. So yeah, we're definitely on track still.
All right.
Very exciting.
Before that, obviously we need to bake smaller breads, is what you say here in Germany. We are gonna get back to racing, and then finishing the season good. Yeah.
I've really loved, I have to say this because you just said that right there. I've loved the translational analogies that have like fully missed the mark, or like, I can't, like, you
got it right.
So awesome because yeah, it's been great. This whole German American translation thing, which by the way, like I wish I spoke German like a fraction of how good everyone over there speaks English. So, but yeah, I love these analogies. Thanks, Mintra. That was the new one.
So I said my last one was the last question, but I've come up with another one just on the spur of the moment. I'm going to ask it of all of you, but I'm actually really curious about Eric's response on this, because you do have a background in CrossFit, in OCR, and obviously now in Hyrox. Is Hyrox, and if I was to throw these different things out here, so is Hyrox the definitive way to crown the fittest athlete? Now I know CrossFit has the fittest athlete on the planet, but if I was to make the argument here, or ask the question, I mean, if I was to throw it OCR, CrossFit, the Olympic decathlon, and Hyrox, which way is really the best way to crown the fittest athlete? And I have my opinion, but I'm curious, and I don't even think I've ever asked Bethany this, so I'm curious as to as to where that goes. When we start with Flo.
Oh yeah. Probably one of the hardest questions ever. What I'm missing right now in every single event, in every single sport, CrossFit, Hyrox, doesn't matter what sport, is the test of your mindset, are you able to go not in the red zone, but are you able to compete in the dark zone? Like, for example, a good example are the Navy SEALs, right? The Navy SEALs training. They go dig deep down into that dark place, and that's what I'm missing, even though in Spartan. So that's a part what's missing. If Hyrox could be able to add that to some events, then of course Hyrox is the sport of fitness. Yes, that's my answer.
Yeah,
I gotta disagree with that, man, because I strongly gotta disagree with that, because
drop the hammer, Mintra.
because Because I mean, if you think about the average time in Hyrox, that's an hour and a half. It's 90 minutes, and we've looked at the data. They're almost the entire time in the red zone. It doesn't matter what level of athlete you are. If you're an elite athlete, if you're you know, a novice, or if you've done these couple races before, you always tap into that dark place somewhere where you just finish. And obviously, this is not a Navy SEAL selection where we want to break you and, you know, just the fittest, you know, get through and stuff, but you do get to that dark place one way or the other. And all these emotions you run through in that race. I mean, from why the hell am I doing this? And this is awesome to, I mean, all these emotions are in there. And I think they're in there. And I haven't had that, you know, when I do the open or something. I mean, I'm not a CrossFit athlete. By far, I'm not an athlete at all. I don't like, you know, but like, I don't have these type of feelings when I'm doing, you know, workouts. But, you know, when you're actually at, and Hyrox event, I feel like you do run through these stages, and to me personally, that's why I think it makes it super unique. So sorry, Flo.
Interesting.
No problem.
I'll split the difference here. I just don't believe. I think what Flo says is exactly right. I think that the one thing that I've as a coach and athlete, as somebody who's messed with all these different sports, like it really comes down to like who can just dig and you know, go to that dark place, irregardless of like whatever sport you come from. I just think that's been the greatest judge of when I've seen it over my athletic career. Like, you know, the people that have beat me are like people that have just like, they know how to tap into it. But here we go. So OCR, no, you're taking a distant third. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, but I've been around way too many OCR folks to know that like anybody who says that you're the fittest athlete, I'm sorry, there's just way too many holes in your game. Hyrox and CrossFit cannot be compared right now because we don't have enough data. I had an hour-long dinner conversation last night about this exact thing, wherein, you know, for years, and once again, like I been in the CrossFit space a long time, and I know data, and I know that there's a lot of things that can be said around the workouts and how quantifiable they can be, and benchmarking and the body adaptations that can occur from that and what that yields like overall. We're just still simply not there yet with the Hyrox athlete. We're slowly beginning to see that like the hunter type body is, you know, going to be the best body type for the domain, and with, you know, his physicality coupled with like his, you know, just overall mental capacity to work for that distance is obviously like, you know, successful. The women's field is obviously much different, you know what I'm saying? Where, you know, by gender, the women's field looks a lot more like kind of synced up with the CrossFit world, right? The body type, that is. And so like those athletes are pretty similar right there. But yeah, I've loved this question, and I cannot wait to debate this for many years to come. But I will say right now, like we just don't have the data yet. I need to run more races. I need to watch these athletes, because why? And I'm gonna give it out to this guy right now. Toby Lautvine is a badass. I love Toby Lautvine.
And look at his body. You mean
look at his body? I love you, Toby, if you're watching this, which you probably aren't because it's in Canadian and you're not those. I don't know, whatever. But like that dude threw me for a loop. I was like, dude, this guy is badass. And like, but really, Toby is a hell of an athlete. You know what I mean? But he doesn't look, you know, he doesn't look the part or whatever. So, yeah. So I'm gonna go with a tie at first place here, and OCR like, you know, down the ladder. Sorry, OCR people.
But you know, but if you're speaking, that's interesting to me. If you like making, if you're like talking about body types, I mean, for the female athletes, if you look at an athlete like Faye Senning, which has a pretty, you know, slim athletic line, she's kind of similar to Imke. And those are the best athletes I've seen so far. I mean, I've seen Faye in Miami next to Imke, and you know, they're just a completely different body type if you want to go by body types. And I think, but that's the beauty of it, that you have a hunter who doesn't look like Toby, yet, you know, they're only 45 minutes apart, which is weird. And I'm sure there's some you know, some sports scientific way to explain this, but we don't know of yet. And then you have, you know, Lauren Weeks, who's a more CrossFit type athlete versus Faye, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be, you know, head to head in a race. So
yeah.
I don't think body type's going to do it here,
Anyways,
man.
good question, Dave. Let's talk into your. Bring that up. Let's rehash this. All
right, and you know what? But before Beth, do you want to chime in on your call?
I feel like I could talk forever about it too.
All right. Well, I'm just going to put out my thing just real quick, and then we'll probably wrap it up. And I'm gonna agree with Mintra, and I'm going to tell you why. I don't feel that Hyrox is the perfect way to define the fittest athlete, but I think it's the best out there right now. The reason that I would go away from OCR and from CrossFit is there is such skill-based movements. Now, when you go to Hyrox, your movements are much more basic and more simplistic, which takes away that from, because if you're just looking to crown the fittest, your ability to do a proper snatch or to go across a you know, twirly bird or monkey bars, right? The skill-based things are out the window now. And that's the same thing even with the decathlon, to throw a javelin, a discus. Those are very skill-oriented. Hyrox is very basic, fundamental movements of speed, strength, and endurance. So that's why of those ones, I would give it to those right now. And we're out of time, so I'm right.
Perfect. Love it. Way to finish.
I love it too.
Beth, you want to wrap it up?
With you, Dave, there. Definitely just taking out the skill elements of things. So I would have to agree with you there on that one. So I wanted to thank all of our listeners for tuning in today, and thank you, Eric, Mintra, and Flo, for a great conversation that we had. And we just wanted to spread the word more about Hyrox. We love it as a sport, so thank you very much. So on behalf of Dave and myself, thank you, and keep training hard, keep crushing it, everyone, and keep giving us something to talk about.